Hey there, welcome to School of Emo, the podcast where we dive into the world of emo, pop punk, and everything in between. If you've ever found yourself in your car screaming the lyrics to Taking Back Sunday, wearing way too much eyeliner in the early 2000s, adding a buckle or a chain to every outfit you've put on, you are in the right place. I'm Erin Judge, and each week I will be your fellow student, guiding you through the music, the culture, and the history that shaped an entire generation of angsty teens. I am not the teacher of this school. I am a fellow student, here to learn alongside you and from you. Together, we will cover a lot of information that doesn't really matter, but will remind us of the days of stalking MySpace channels and getting lost in chat rooms. So connect your dial up, turn on your webcam, and let's go to School of Emo. Welcome back to the School of Emo. As you can see, if you're watching this versus listening, we are into the holidays and it is officially festive season. And while I will always be a sad kid at heart, and the holidays still are very sad in a lot of ways, I'm feeling pretty festive and good. And I hope that you are too. But thinking about the holidays, before we get into our episode today on Dance, Gavin Dance, I want to think about the holidays. And as an emo kid, I think I'm curious if you have had the same experience where every year I get so excited and I build up all these big hopes of experiences I'm going to have and connection and how I'm going to feel. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to manage those expectations a little bit better. But as a kid, I really struggled with understanding how to manage that and how to expect less, which is hard to say because the holidays would always bring immense sadness and disappointment and sometimes even depression. I think because I just expected it to be even better. I don't know. It's like the facade of the holiday gatherings and the spirit of the season and all the joy, which is still there, that it alone will, like, I don't know, feel amazing at all times, but for some people it doesn't. And I think a lot of emo kids probably experience similar things with that. As an adult, I definitely experience it in a better way, I think, than whenever I was a kid, just because I know how to create experiences for myself. I also know how to manage expectations and emotion, and I know how to hold some of the sadness of the season of missing people and what's not there and all of that as well, but also making space for joy and gratitude and everything like that. So maybe that's what you need to, I don't know, thought it would be interesting to start talking about. And if you have something you want to share, especially on YouTube, or you can just comment, please leave your thoughts. I would love to hear them, see them, and we can keep the conversation going. As we do that, we are going to dive into our next band, and one that is going to be on the Emos Not Dead cruise. As you know, I'm going on the cruise again this year. It'll be my second year on the cruise, and that's happening at the end of January. And so we are going through a lot of the bands that we have not covered that will be on the cruise as my way of prepping for it. We've already covered Under Oath, Story of the Year, The Used. We just covered Silverstein. And so now we're going to get into some of the other bands that are less high on my own list of bands that I've listened to, but ones I'm excited to learn about. And Dance, Gavin Dance is one of those bands. So they were actually going to go to California, which is a little bit different than I feel like some of the bands that we've covered, minus our pop punk, punk bands that we went into. But Sacramento, California, 2005, we had guitarist Will Swan and drummer Matt Mingus come together and build Dance, Gavin Dance. Them along with Johnny Craig on clean vocals, John Mess, who took over unclean vocals, and then Will Swan on guitar, Matt Mingus on drums, Sean O'Sullivan on rhythm guitar, and Eric Lodge on bass. They created their debut EP, Whatever I Say Is Royal Ocean, which dropped in 2006. And that's when they kind of announced their band as we know it now, Dance Gavin Dance. What they tried to go for in their sound early on was this math rock guitar pyrotechnics with R&B tinged clean vocals and snarling screams. So trying to create kind of another little voice and space within the emo world, as we've talked about time and time again, right? This was like the height of the third wave of emo. And in the third wave, that's where we started to see a lot of branching out of different subgenres within the emo pop, punk, post-punk, post-hardcore, whatever we want to call it, umbrella. The sound then led to their full-length album, Downtown Battle Mountain, in May of 2007, so a year later. And this became a like kind of a cult album for many fans that are continue to be fans now, but also just within the emo scene as a whole. So if you're a Gavin Dance fan, you probably love this album and can point back to whenever you first heard this album. John Mess, in an early interview, reflecting back on kind of those earlier times, said, on those first shows, the band felt like a bunch of kids trying to write the most complicated songs they could while still making something catchy. So going for that emo introspection, but blending in a little bit of a poppiness to it. Maybe we call it pop emo. I don't know how we would define that. So shortly after their first full-length record, there were some internal tensions in the band, right? Not unusual within any band, but especially some of these bands. The guitarist and then vocalist switches would become a recurring theme for the band moving forward. So we're going to see lots of transition and turnover with some of our band members. So Johnny Craig, who is the first dominant clean voice, left the band. Kurt Travis came in for the self-titled 2008 record, which we'll get into next. And then there are more shuffles and things that are going to go on. So we'll keep going through those as they come. So with Kurt Travis on lead vocals, we have Dance Gavin Dance, their self-titled album in 2008. And then they released Happiness in 2009, where they experimented with more of the like who is doing what, and especially with vocals, because they have the clean and unclean. So who's fronting the band, who is the face of the band, who's leading it. So really kind of putting people in different spots. So Will Swan handled vocals in the studio at some point. The 2010 original vocal team reunited briefly to record another album, Downtown Battle Mountain 2, kind of building back off of that first album, making sure that they could kind of pull from that earlier success. So there was a lot of kind of switching up that was happening and experimentation to find kind of their grounding, who they were as a band, but also what their sound would be and how they would be presented. Matt Mingus, in a 2011 interview, said on making Downtown Battle Mountain 2, the record was maybe a way to close a chapter and see what would happen next. But it also proved that the band still had something unique together, and that was their goal. So in those early years, they really built a reputation of being wild, but melody forward, being unpredictable while having multiple vocal textures. And fans really enjoyed it because there was something to kind of expect or experience that might be different than before. And fans actually stuck around for it. And even kind of argued and debated of what they wanted to see, but they were still involved. They didn't lose touch with the band, and the band changing things up so frequently didn't lose their connection with their fans. So in 2012, Johnny Craig left again. So he came back and left again. And then Tillian Pearson joined, which kicked off the band's most stable era. And the first record with Tillian was Acceptance Speech in 2013, which felt like kind of a rebirth and a reinvention for the band. They had a cleaner production, more of a pop kind of background with more of this progressive rock instrumentation. And this led them into Instant Gratification in 2015, Mothership in 2016, Artificial Selection in 2018, Afterburner in 2020, and Jackpot Juicer in 2022. So really push forward, again, a more stable era of the band members, but definitely more consistent sound. So more momentum to drive like their other albums and what they were able to produce. Across the records, the band leaned more into this accessibility. Again, like we see a lot of bands doing around this era of time, what can be played on the radio easily, what can be easy to hear and follow along to, what can be catchy. They leaned into that, but also wanted to keep kind of their weirdness and funkiness, what made them unique, which helped them chart higher in the US and then put them in places like different arena shows, opening for different bands, being part of festivals, which they're continuing to do today. Tillian, in an interview clip around the Mothership album era, said that there was comfort in finally having a consistent creative partnership with Will and John Mess, and how that chemistry helped push the pop melody side while keeping the unhinged parts intact. So really leaning into the value of the team approach and how finding that grouping of musicians together and like the band itself was the strength behind the success of those albums. So, with all of those albums in this era, Mothership is the one that stands out the most and was sort of the peak for the band. Critics and fans will point to it as kind of the top, more anthemic album that they have and more defined of who they are and like what their sound is. The biggest fans obviously will point to the very first album, but a lot of fans that have stuck it out and really enjoy the band, and even just critics of the scene as a whole, point to Mothership. Whereas Artificial Selection kind of doubled down on more of the technical side of things, and being more ambitious with their arrangements. Afterburner was a bit heavier, bigger production. Jackpot Juicer was more of the pandemic, post-pandemic kind of rebound energy. Mothership was a little bit more kind of true DNA to who the band was at that time and who they kind of solidified themselves to be. So, going back through our records and digging into some of the lyrics, kind of doing this a little differently this episode, picking out some of the songs. So, in Downtown Battle Mountain from 2007, this is the foundation, right, for the band. And one of the biggest songs that still remains one of their top songs today is And I Told Them I Invited Times New Roman. So, those lyrics. But now you know that I am cold. And now I'm found. Duck down, then hide behind the file cabinet. Duck down, then hide behind the file cabinet. Down. Without ever letting go, I knew you gone. Duck down, then hide behind the file cabinet. Duck down, then hide behind the file cabinet. Down. Without ever letting go, I knew you gone astray. Stranded here in this cold atmosphere, waiting for the lifeless words to come from your mouth, enduring every sound. This is not why the cast is hollow, sending the rats to follow, under the weight of all these eyes, fry. But now you know that I'm cold, and now I'm found. I lay without understanding. I don't know why I feel this way. Oh, lay down, girl, take my world. I know why I can't see your face. I've placed every mold. There is no place on your wasted body. Oh, lay down, girl, and take my world. I know why I can't see your face. As the window left shattered now, we saw the withered body try to shout. You thought the price of your life was devout and told us some things you can't live without. And was this what was best for us? Just let it show. I'll bring you far. Well, I'll go for it. I'll beg you when you know. I'll beg you when it shows. Well, I'll go for it. I don't believe the lies. I don't believe the lies. I'll die for you. I don't believe the lies. I don't believe the lies. It's staged for you. Left at my feet rests the soul of my brother. Vengeance will fall for the deeds of another. With the Gavin Dance self-titled album in 2008 and Happiness in 2009, this is where we had some reinvention, right? The changing of the lead singers, different textures, a lot of experimentation. And a song we got out of those eras was Uneasy Hearts Weigh the Most. So the lyrics: to feel her touch, it's almost impossible to hold still. Maybe we can go back to the way it was. Well, at least let me love you the same. I've got lies to tell your children when my smile pierces through your bones, right through your bones. The grass is green inside my yard. I can make you laugh so fucking hard it hurts you. Inside your bones. When she talks, I listen. She's in the shower and her skin glistens. Like, oh my God, I like it. I suggest a drive. Let's take the back road. Let's get lost. Let's lose our minds. Hey, little girl, I think we found it tonight. I think we glow that fucking bright. Oh. And when she laughs, I like it. Like, oh, ha, 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 ha. I got lies to tell your children when my smile pierces through your bones, right through your bones. The grass is green inside my yard. I can make you laugh so fucking hard it hurts you inside your bones. Holy shit, she smells like heaven. Been best friends since we were 11. Oh my God, I like her. Yeah, I heard you like her. Baby, I thought we had something. Compared to him, I'm next to nothing. Oh my God, I like her. I like her. Yeah, I heard you like her. The weirdness. A little creepy, honestly, but love is creepy and weird sometimes. So then 2011, Downtown Battle Mountain 2, which was sort of that partial reunion and more for the fans and a sequel. And then the acceptance speech to instant gratification, 2013, 2015 eras, move towards that clearer production, the bigger hooks, stronger chart performance, really leaning into, again, the accessibility and like who they would become there. With those eras, we own the night. Forget my jealousy. You swallowed the demons on your own. There's nothing left for me. I keep thinking back to when you said we own the night. Stomp that feeling. Your puke is a mutant. Can't think of who did this. Well, I grew stupid. Say accidents happen. It's admirable acting. Flicking the back of your ear with my finger. Separate is the way, though. No, second is the place, though. Just fake it through the day, and the night is your God. See you in battle. Your boat is my paddle. Your life is my business. Your plaque on my wall. Let your hair down. Have one more round. Drink till you believe it. Sloppy kisses, dirty dishes. Baby, this is living. Roller coaster up and down in random motion. Oh, come in closer. Ditch your problems. Better days are coming. Get up off the wall. Come on, get down, get down. Give into the moment and live now, live now. Get up off the wall. Come on, get down, get down. Give into the moment. Feel it now. I have the heart of a coward. Here in my arms is exactly where I want you. We own the night. Stomp that feeling. Your puke is a mutant. Can't think of who did this. Well, I grew stupid. Say accidents happen. It's admirable acting. Flick in the back of your ear with my finger. Separate is the way, though. No, second is the place, though. Just fake it through the day, and the night is your God. See you in battle. Your boat is my paddle. Your life is my business. Your plaque on my wall. You'll forget I'm wrong. Call your phone and open up my fate because I know you're so connected. I need poison, mitigate the pain. Feel my toes go golden up in flames. Give me false hope in my veins. Tranquilize and modify my brain. Where did I go wrong? There's nothing I can do. The thrill is gone. So I play these nervous songs, pretend I'm not barely hanging on, and medicate, medicate, medicate all night long. Medicate, medicate all night long. I run quickly out of air. By the way, I hate your celebration. I run quickly out of air. By the way, I hate your aging faces. It's so interesting how, like, if you listen to the song compared to the lyrics are deeply emotional, kind of dark, again, kind of creepy, kind of weird, kind of sad, like on a weird side. Whereas the sound behind it is definitely more catchy, dancey. There's kind of a juxtaposition between the two. So then we have Mothership 2016, kind of that capstone album. And interviews were really leaning into how the band was on their stride. They hit the stride, they came together, like they had a true kind of identity. Artificial Selection to Afterburner to Jackpot Juicer, 2018 to 2022, was continued evolution, experiments with guest vocals, more modernized production, larger festival bookings. And that leads us to 2025, which is Parthenon, their most recent album that they released, which actually debuted at 145 on the US Billboard 200, number 37 on US Top Rock and Alternative Albums. This was the first album to feature Andrew Wells, who was credited as a co-lead vocalist, even though he was earlier joined as a guitarist. This was also the first studio album that was recorded after the passing of their longtime bassist during that kind of more stable era. who is Tim Feerick. He passed in April 2022. And the departure of clean vocalist Tillian Pearson, who again was more of that stable vocalist during the earlier era, who left in April of 2024. So the reviews of this album say that there's still that blend of that post-hardcore math rock funk, but with some fresher changes with the new vocal setup, new dynamics, even guest appearances from legends, including funk legend George Clinton. It has a little bit of a different sound to it. There's some more experimentation involved. And it's, again, another sort of redefinition, still tied to the roots of dance, Gavin Dance, but with a little bit new. In this album, we have Midnight at McGuffey's. So last lyrics to share. Wow, when I plot inside of my lair, I get lost inside of my maze. I could rot inside of my lair or do me a favor and get out of my way. 'Cause you've been waiting all night. And I know it's not my place. But I'm begging you to stay so we can feel our heartbeats. It's going to explode. I can't be what you need because I've got no control. Heartbeats. It's going to explode. I can't be what you need. I took a trip through all my past mistakes for you. You couldn't let me live and just forget it. I took a trip through all my past mistakes for you. I'm in hell and making zany art. Don't think I'm lame. My inner baby needs its child support. Can you help me pay? 50 quid a pop. I grow grapes. Stayed up wondering, should I change how I behave? How's your parents? Are they still gay? Fucked around and got some band-aids from Rite Aid. And when the bleeding stops, you're only feeding the fire. The body starts to slow. When the dreaming stops, the nightmare fuel can retire. The mind is left alone. And as the feelings pass, you're looking for the rat, but you're the piper that played itself for you. And when the bleeding stops, you're only feeding the fire, oh. Didn't know it was your birthday, blew it in the worst way, F me. Guess I'll take you to the buffet, see a scary movie, Scream 3. It's midnight at McGuffey's. I think I'm 30-something. My talk is mostly bluffing. I stuck my dick in nothing. All this tech and stocks I gaze, reject me and I'll rage. Have you heard of microdosing? Ayahuasca, dude. Long legs, long knives, and I'm still alive. I am the common theme, long legs, long knives, and I'm still alive. The poison in your dreams, long legs, long knives, and I'm still alive. Don't get me started or I'll start it up. Don't get me started, I'll go right now. 50 quid a pop, I grow grapes. Stayed up wondering, should I change how I behave? How's your parents? Are they still gay? Fucked around and got some band-aids from Rite Aid. And when the bleeding stops, you're only feeding the fire. Your body starts to slow. When the dreaming stops, the nightmare fuel can retire. The mind is left alone. And as the feelings pass, you're looking for the rat, but you're the piper that played itself for you. And when the bleeding stops, you're only feeding the fire. Crimes, pure obsession, get you invested into a battle that was nothing at all. Still weird. Their lyrics are interesting. I think I have a hard time connecting to them. I like more of kind of a clearer introspection. I think there's a lot, I don't know, some kind of abstract thinking there. Interesting. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you connect a lot differently. I will say though, there is still a poetic nature to it. It's just different than what I typically would go for. It's just me. But the fans love them. So going back into the band members, like where are they now? So the founders and kind of the stable core members have been Will Swan, lead guitar, Matt Mingus, and drums. Those are the ones that have been through every single album. They started the band, like they are the foundation of the band. Unclean vocals, John Mess, who has had a longstanding presence and is kind of part of the lyrical chaos that is there. Past clean vocalists include Johnny Craig, who was original, Kurt Travis, like that 2008 era, Tillian Pearson, 2012 to 2024. And then more recently, there's the post-Tillian era, which is where we have some of the other band members kind of coming into that space. And then bassist and guitarist Jim Furyk was the longtime bassist, but then passed away in 2022, which was a big moment for the band and community of fans. And then there have been some other instrumentalists across different eras, but they're a little less consistent and less stable, like band members, more so just filling in or on a tour or just part of one album, versus like core parts of the band. So in April of 2024, the band did announce their parting with Tillian Pearson, and it was a little bit more controversial because Pearson was accused of sexual misconduct in 2022, which led him to step away from Gavin Dance and then permanently leave. He did initially deny the allegations, but then later apologized. He also has faced some online accusations of sexism, and had that kind of stacking up against him. So both members, the band itself, and then Tillian, released statements after he departed about goals no longer aligning after a turbulent couple of years, and this being kind of a major turning point for the band and also Tillian as he moved forward. So a little bit of a controversial big moment for the band in the last couple of years, which is also likely why this newer album is a little bit of a reinvention and shift, because they're redefining themselves as a band moving forward without him. And even the fan groups as a whole are kind of getting past that big moment for the band. So something kind of interesting with the band is they have been part of different festivals. They're on lineups. Again, they're part of the So Not Dead cruise. I believe that they've been part of When We Were Young a couple of years. I believe they were part of Warped Tour, at least one of the dates this year. But Will Swan and the band as a whole actually created their own festival called Swan Fest that amplified the Blue Swan scene and created a community for fans and label mates across the industry. This became kind of a fan pilgrimage, and was kind of a really big part of the scene from 2019 through 2025. So it's a one-day festival, and it had 2019 debut, and then they had the 2022, 2023, and 2025 events, curated completely by Gavin Dance and held on just one single day every single year. So something kind of interesting. So if you are, let's say if you're already a fan of Gavin Dance, you probably know about this festival. You've probably been. So share your experience on that. But if you go and listen to some of these albums and you find that you really do love them, you love their sound, you love what they're about, you love their weirdness and what they've created, then you might enjoy Swan Fest and the festival that they have also curated. So this band has stuck to their roots while also have leaned into experimentation and evolution, and they are opening a new chapter and evolving right now with their post-Tillian era in their newest album. And so if you maybe are coming back to them, if you are familiar with some earlier music, just some of the hits, but you haven't really dug into them for a while, or maybe you dropped off during the Tillian controversies, this may be a good time to reacclimate yourself to the band, get to know them with who they are now with their newest album. And again, if you really love them, they are around, they are touring, they're part of tours, they are part of festivals, they have their own festival. So there's plenty of opportunities to still be part of what the band is creating in the fan groups for this band, which is one of the greatest gifts that we have within this scene, especially as some of us are getting a lot older. A lot of the bands that have been around in that third wave as we grew up, that we were able to really enjoy as teenagers and as young adults, it's such a gift to still be able to engage in the music live and in the fan groups and all of those different things. So take advantage of that while you can. And your homework would be to go listen to Gavin Dance. I encourage you to listen to the first Battle Mountains, their first album, and then go and enjoy that more kind of capstone album, Mothership. And then let that take you into Pantheon from this year. And then you can fill in the gaps later. But kind of looking at those three albums as like the biggest touch points in their career shifts can be a fun way to learn more about the band. And then in our next class, if you come back, we're going to get into another band that I'm not super familiar with, but I know so many do love, which is Mom Jeans, experimenting more with our Emo's Not Dead Cruise lineup. And then we will keep going through the rest of the lineup as we move through the rest of the holidays and the end of this year. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next class.